Welcome guys, back to Single, Not Alone 2. Today I'm going to show you how to make lasagna. Guys are asking how to cook, easy things to cook. So the first thing I did here was I went ahead and boiled some water and I got the noodles, lasagna noodles. Okay, and I got my plate out and I lined the bottom with the noodles. Okay, that's just the first punch. Alright. Then what I do is I take my ground beef, okay, and start cooking it up. Now, some people might say I use too high a temperature, use about a 7.5, probably use too high for what I do. I'm not a chef. My girlfriend bought this special handy dandy little crushing thing, and it's great to break up the meat. I use 1.5 pounds of meat in all my recipes, mostly because it's convenient. I buy a 3-pound log of ground beef, and I just cut it in half, put it in some storage, and that's it. So it's about 1.5 pounds, not exactly, but close enough. My goal here is to brown it up nice and good. With that, I'm also going to add some spices to it. I'm going to add our favorites, which is onion, garlic, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. And this is just to season the meat. Here's my black pepper. Just a little bit, not a lot. Okay, a little bit of salt. Way too much. Okay, I don't want it too salty. I don't like too much salt in my food. Then I turn around, put in the garlic. I like to put in a lot of garlic. My kids love garlic. Again, I like to season everything separately. You don't have to do that. You don't have to add any seasoning if you don't want, because you're going to be putting some pasta sauce in there next. This is onion powder. Okay, and oops, that thing flew out. Not need that much. Okay, and I keep mixing it up. Make sure it's all brown. And this takes a few minutes. In the meantime, you want to start your oven off at 350. I don't know if you can see that. So I preheat my oven at 350. I like to put wet things in there, so I like to make sure it's empty. It's a good space to dry some of the bigger stuff you may have. And this makes quite a bit of lasagna. My kids will eat it all if I let them, but I also give some to the neighbors. A really good couple, and super nice. They're super positive around the kids. So, again, this is just ground beef. Some people might say throw some pork in there. Amen. Each their own. I'm sure pork would add a wonderful flavor to it. I'm not Italian, and I'm not a chef. So, ground beef it is. You can see pretty much it's all brown in here. I'm going to show you in a sec. There we go. It's all very much brown in there, but if you can get a real closer look, you see all that fat that's rendered in there. So next thing I like to do is I dump out the fat. I don't want the fat in my sauce. I don't want the fat in my food. Some people will tell you, hey, that's where all the flavor is. Some people will say, leave it in there. It's going to be mixed in the sauce anyway. Not me. Right now I take that, I'll drop the heat down a little bit. Now I'm going to get out something here to help me with the fat. And we're going to spin around, and I'm going to come over here to my sink. And I have one of these. Simple, effective. Take my pan, put it there. And then I go ahead and I get a big spoon that's got some slots in it, like this, and I scoop it, And I put it in here. And again, the goal here is for me to go ahead and get as much fat. You can see it already dripping, even though it has slots. You know, you need to try to get as much fat as possible. Some of you guys might think, well, I see the pan's moving around. Is it going to fall? Yeah, it has. It's always fun when you lose a whole thing of meat. But this is the most effective way I can think of getting the grease out. I'm sure there are better ways. I'm sure there are other ways that some people would do it. But this is how I do it. And again, I'll show you how much grease is actually in the bottom of that pan when I'm done. It's significant. It's a little crazy how much grease comes out of beef. And again, some people say that's the good stuff. I'm not denying it. I just don't want it in my sauce. Thins out the sauce and gives it a really beefy flavor, which I'm not really in the mood for. I make this for my kids. I myself actually am allergic to cheese. So this is not for me at all. You can see all that dripping? That's all the beef. See all that in there? Dripping like that? That's a little crazy, right? A lot of stuff dripping. But then again, if you look in that pan, look at all that in there. Look at all that. That's a lot, of fat. So I go ahead and I'm dumping that out. I shake this up. You can have some, but you don't need a whole lot. Then let's go back over here. I'll put that right back on the, now it's lowered a little bit. Okay, and then I grab some sauce. Now, everyone has their own favorite. This is not my favorite by far. But as a single father like you guys, I buy anything that's 2 for 1. It's the only way I can really afford stuff. So I have just good old Prego. It's traditional. Everyone has their own favorites. I don't really care because the kids don't know the difference. And can I make it from homemade? Yes. It just costs more. You got to buy a couple of jars of tomato sauce, and then you got to buy a jar of tomato paste, and then you got to do this, you got to do that. The seasoning. And in the end, if I'm buying these buy one get one, I'm getting 2 for like $3, which makes it a lot cheaper. And they usually have them back to back different ones. So I get a couple of Alfredo. One of my kids loves Alfredo, and the other one actually just likes butter. Now I know I already seasoned the meat, but I'm going to put a little bit more garlic and onion powder in there. Never have too much. Well, I guess you can, but my kids really like it. Here's the garlic. They love garlic. And then I do something else that some people do, some people don't do. To each their own. I personally, some people say add a little wine to it. I add a little sugar. So if you add a little bit of sugar, not a lot of sugar, but a little sugar, what it does is it helps break down the acidity in the tomatoes, which will help the kids eat it. Won't upset their stomach as much, as well as obviously give it a little bit of sweeter flavor. Now, from here, you can see, right? You can use this as for baked ziti. You can just dump this in, mix it in with the baked ziti, toss cheese on top, and throw it in the oven. You could make this for lasagna, like I am. You can just use this as meat sauce. So if you make this, you throw it in the freezer, and you're set. You can have 3 meals at the drop of a hat, which is nice to have. Now I'm going to put it down to a nice simmer, because I don't need more than that. And keep mixing it up a little bit. I want to get the ragu a little bit cooked up. Then I'm going to turn around and get this ready. Okay. Right now, you can see I got my first layer there. Go ahead and get my cheeses ready. Now, I put a lot of cheese. If your kids are like mine, they want the cheese. That's all they want. Cheese, cheese, and more cheese. Well, if that's what they want, that's what I give them. So I use an entire bag of mozzarella and sliced mozzarella. I'm going to show you how I use those together in a second. But it comes out crazy cheesy. And most kids will eat it crazy cheesy. My kids literally ask for this. They want me to make it as often as I possibly can. I don't make it as often as I can because, well, I don't eat it. So I put my first layer of the ragu. I just put a nice thin layer right on top. Keep in mind you are going to have a second layer, so let's not go crazy. You don't want to make it super thick. You want a nice thin layer. You want to try to cover everything around, move it around with the spatula, in this case my spoon. You know, part of being broke is try not to do dishes every 5 seconds. So I use the same stuff over and over again. Okay, so here it is. My first layer is done. Alright, so then I go ahead and I take my sliced cheese and lay it on top. You know, like I said, I go a little cheese overboard, but that's how the kids like it. That's how the neighbors like it. So, even though I'm not going to eat it anyway, what do I care? Luckily, these packages come with 12 slices. Perfect for what I'm doing. I lay them out nice and flat, as you can see here. Nice and flat. And then I go one step further. I take the shredded mozzarella and I just dump it on top. Tons and tons of it. Now, again, we have 2 layers, so we don't have to go too crazy. We already have the flat cheese. All this will be used. Now you can see by how I did it, you can't see that flat cheese at all. Now technically, this could be it. Yeah, if you want to just throw that in there like that, you could say, hey, I'm done. But my kids like to eat. So I have more pasta shells coming on, pasta pieces coming on. Okay, I do 3 with a slight overlap, and it fits it just fine. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I repeat. Rinse and repeat. So now, all the rest of the meat's going in. So I can just go ahead and literally take it and just dump it on in there. My lasagna is usually only 2 levels. Some people say, hey, you're supposed to have chunks of sausage in there. You're supposed to have this in there. You're supposed to have that in there. I do what I can. And my kids really don't enjoy Italian sausage. So I'm not going to put something in that I know they're not going to enjoy. Let me get that pot out of the way here. You can see it's nice lined with the pasta sauce. Okay, there it is. Nice and lined with the pasta sauce. And I rinse and repeat again. Get my sliced cheeses. And hey, the short slices, who cares? You got tons of shredded cheese. It's a great sound. Like here, there you go. Boom, boom, right? Now I got this. Put that on the top. Now this one I go a little bit less, because again I have to leave some cheese for top. This is all I have for the top. Okay, but again, if you look and see, it's covered. Now for the final layer of noodles, I just lay them on top. There's no sauce that goes on top of this one. This is all just cheese. This essentially lets me, now it make it a little easier for me to cut it, to be honest with you. I don't know what the real reasoning is. It's supposed to be like a sauce sandwich, or I don't know, made with noodles. Maybe somebody's Italian or a chef can tell me what the purpose is of putting on the top. But my kids will eat it just fine without the top. I literally dump the rest of the bag in, spread it around, and try to get every little corner covered. You know, the top is kind of the most important part. It's the part that really makes it look nice. So here we go. All nicely covered. See here, it's already at 350. And now I just put it in. And, you know, everything's already cooked. So you don't have to go crazy. You just want the cheese melted. So I put it in there. I put it in the oven. And I'll check it in about a half an hour, 40 minutes. And as long as the cheese is melted, it's ready to go. So I'll take a shot of it when it's done so you can see what that looks like too. Alright guys, so now I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done. I don't do any timing or anything like that, I just watch the cheese. When it's done, it kind of looks like that. Okay? You can see the layers. You got cheese all the way around there. Here you can see some of the meat, nice and layered. But yeah, that's it. I'll show you what it looks like when I cut. I don't cut it when it's hot. I cut it after it's cooled down so it comes out really nice and straight lines. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So when it's done, I'll start it up again and show you guys what it looks like when I cut it. And then my kids are going to enjoy it. So yeah, show you guys in a minute. Alright guys, and here it is sliced up. You can see, nice big piece. See the layers in there. Kids absolutely love it. Big slices. And plenty more to go. You're talking 2-3 meals easy. This will last for at least 2 meals for my kids. I mean, that's a huge slice right there. Everyone will love it. So I highly suggest you make it. Again, you can make the ragu. You can make the meat sauce. You can do baked ziti with it. You can do lasagna with it. And you can do just regular meat sauce with it, almost anything you want. So I highly suggest making it and just keeping it in your freezer. Or if you know you're going to use it that week, just keep it in your fridge. And then it's already ready to go. For quick meals, last minute, oh crap, I forgot to cook something. So again, enjoy, welcome, Single Not Alone 2. Have a good night.